Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 2019 State of the City. Is this a great day in Santa Clara or what? This is the center of what's possible, and it's great to see all of you here at our State of the City event. We had a wonderful session this morning, and it's so wonderful to see all of you here for our event. I am Lenka Wright, Director of Communications for, of course, the City of Santa Clara, and we have an amazing program in store for you today. First, we will have our first ever recognition of outstanding community members, businesses, and Organization of the Year. So this is just fabulous, and we're very excited to be doing these awards. Then you will hear from Mayor Lisa Gilmore about the state of the city. Then you will hear from City Manager Deanna Santana about the city budget, as well as key city initiatives. And then we will open it up for a few minutes of a Q&A, question and answer period. And then the mayor will close with her closing remarks. So are you ready for our State of the City? That's what I like to hear. And now we will have our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Council Member Debbie Davis, who is our most senior council member.
Please stand. Okay, you're all standing. Good. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
And now I know you are all very excited for our first ever award recognitions. And I will call up Councilmember Davis yet again to do the District 6 awards.
Thank you, Lenka. Welcome, everyone. This is the first time ever awards. The mayor came up with this idea, being that we are now district people and not at large anymore. So first on my list is District 6, Person of the Year, Lee Brofman. And sorry to say Lee Brofman is not here. She's on vacation in Arizona. But she has a fellow trustee member here today, Steve Ricosa, to accept the award on her behalf. And I want to talk to her about her first, Steve. But you can come and hang with me if you want. He takes great direction. Okay, let me talk about Lee Brofman. Lee Brofman is a resident since 1975 in the city of Santa Clara. She retired from Westinghouse Northrop Grumman, Sunnyvale after 30 years as a subcontract buyer. She serves on the following committees. Now, this is one busy lady. She's a member of the Santa Clara Women's League for 26 years. She served on the Senior Commission, the Parks and Rec Commission, and she was the first year of the Citizens Police Academy. Yay! She also was in the first year of Santa Clara Leadership. We're not going to say her age. She was a volunteer for Mission College. She's a current volunteer for St. Justin's Community Ministry Food Bank. She is also a current volunteer for Parents Helping Parents. She also volunteers on Santa Clara Library Foundation and Friends since 2004. And currently, she serves with Mr. Ricosa as a library board trustee member. And I asked her to tell me something funny about herself, but she couldn't come up with anything. But she said her proudest achievement is the Mission Library renovation and being a good friend to her friends, and she also is a very kind person. And if anyone in this room knows Lee Brofman, everything that I said is true about her. She loves Santa Clara and serving her community. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Steve Ricosa a fellow library trustee, to accept the award on behalf of Lee Brofman. And the council members, please, and mayor. My second award for District 6 goes to a friend, and he is for the Business of the Year. I am proud to give this award to Saeed Companion. He has owned the 7-Eleven on Saratoga and Prune Ridge Avenue in Santa Clara for 28 years. He works 14 hours a day and 7 days a week, and thank you, Lita. Except when the 49ers are playing and Father's Day that I recently found out. Saeed moved here to the United States from Iran in 1976 to begin a new journey in his life. A proud and generous man, Saeed is a true community builder. Through the years, he has watched people in the neighborhood grow, from toddlers to adults, from native-born Santa Clarans, like the mayor's sister Tiza, who lives right down the street, to new families moving in. Saeed's business reminds me of Cheers, a fictitious sitcom about a local Boston bar where everyone knows your name. Saeed does, and greets them with a warm and infectious smile. He always asks about your day and your family. He has donated to local schools, charities, and to our PAL, which is our Police Athletic League. Yay, we love that. Thank you, Saeed. So then I asked Saeed to tell me a funny story that happened to him. He said one day, a little boy named Stephen came into his store. He could barely see over the counter and said, "Mr. Saeed, today is my birthday." So Saeed said, "Go and pick out a candy bar." And he came back with a chocolate bar and thanked him and went along on his way. Later that day, 20 kids came in the store and said, "Mr. Saeed, it's my birthday too." Now, the chances of 21 kids in the same neighborhood having the same birthday, I think Saeed said he won the lottery. Please join me in welcoming District 6 Business of the Year, Mr. Saeed Companion. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council and everyone. And I really appreciate it. I'm honored to accept this award after 28 years at the City of Santa Clara. I thank all my customers also and my wife. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
I will now request Mayor Gilmore to come to the podium for the Santa Claran of the Year and the Organization of the Year.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start with the Organization of the Year, and just to talk about these awards a little bit. This is the first time we're doing this in Santa Clara, and it's a way to celebrate things that are good in our community. Because on a daily basis, we're always hearing about all the negative things that happen to Santa Clara. I don't know why a lot of people like to pick on us, but we're turning things around now, and we are now going to celebrate all the good things that happen and all the good people and businesses and organizations in our community. So we decided that this would be a great place to do it. We have 4 State of the Cities that are going on. This is the second one. We are, I believe, live streaming this one. So those that aren't able to make it will be able to hear some of the information. But we are now in districts. There's 6 districts in Santa Clara, and we have a couple of the district awards today from District 6, and then I'll be presenting the Organization of the Year and the Santa Claran of the Year for citywide. So I'm going to start with the Organization of the Year. And I think most of you know this organization as the SES organization or corporation. I know there's an official name, but we all know it as the SES group. So I'm going to talk about the men and women of SES. And to talk a little bit, I have to start about the SES Hall, because a lot of us know about the SES Hall. And that was one of the first buildings here in Santa Clara that was built in I got to get this right, Lena, 1896, right? So the Portuguese men and women of Santa Clara founded this building, commonly known as the SES Hall, in 1896. This fraternal organization was created as a means of communication and socialization. It gave the Portuguese community a place to meet, to discuss current issues, and to share news from the homeland. So when I was a little girl, my grandma and her parents were from Spain, but they lived near Portuguese town in Santa Clara. And so all of my grandma's friends were Portuguese. So I was able to eat Portuguese food, go to the events at the hall, look at the parade, because I always wanted to be a princess, but I was never in the parade. Even though I'm part Portuguese, had needed that to get elected. But it was always such a wonderful community. And so I think the building's there, but it's really representative of the history of Santa Clara, the beginning of Santa Clara, the community of Santa Clara, I think really started here. And it started with the Portuguese community, along with the Spanish community. Graham, yeah, okay. So it started here, and it's really been the heart and soul of Santa Clara. And the men and women of this community, and everything is centers around the hall, but everyone has really it really created the history for Santa Clara. So when I thought about what would be the first organization to honor in Santa Clara, it was really, through the help of my council members, was really a no-brainer that this is what it was going to be. It was going to be the SES Hall, the SES Corporation, and the history and really the heart and soul of Santa Clara. The heart and soul back then, but it's also the heart and soul today of Santa Clara. And this community does so much, not just for the Portuguese community, but the entire Santa Clara as a whole. They feed people, they work for people, the hardest working people that I've ever met. Just recently, I attended a crab feed because they support bringing back our Parade of Champions, right? You'll see if I ever want applause, I'm going to mention the Parade of Champions here. But it's just they're so involved and they're selfless and they give so much back. So I'd like to call Lena Soto up and your group. I'd like to present you with the very first Organization of the Year for Santa Clara. And when I say SES, Sociedade do Espírito Santo Corporation. Aha.
Hi. Okay, my name is Lena, and I'm the president for the last 2 years. My term is going to finish in September. I've been there for the last 6 years. I'm proud to be involved in Santa Clara. I feel like this is my second home, even though I felt in San Jose. I'm honored. I've been honored to help Anna. And I want to continue being the past president after September. I'm going to continue to be involved in the SES for the future. And like I said, this is, for me, is a teamwork. Okay, it's an honor to have this to present to my board of directors, to keep this in the hall, because he means a lot to us. 123 years is a long time. Long time. Okay? And like I said to Anna, this is a teamwork. Let's go keep working teamwork. And I'm so excited for the parade. I don't know why. She made me like, when she tells me, she goes, oh, we have to get this together for the crab feed together. And I told her, yes, we can do it. Let's do it. And thank you so much. I mean, I want to thank her. I mean, she's so sweet. And I made everybody work, clean up the hall that night. Everybody worked. We didn't think about being the mayor, being the directors. We all work a teamwork. And that's how we did. Thank you so much, honey. Thank you. Thank you. We just got the soapers last weekend, and unless you missed, but we're going to have in July 7th for Sant Antonio's Festa. You're welcome to come over. Thank you.
All right, council, come on up. Okay, the next and last award before I start the State of the City is to award the Santa Claran of the Year. Again, this was not a tough decision for me because this award really represents a woman who really signifies what it's like to be a Santa Claran, a true Santa Claran, a selfless Santa Claran, a funny Santa Claran. She has it all. It might be in a little small package, but it's packed with energy. She helped. It was so funny. The headline, and it says, Joe Montana rewarded after making, quote, old woman happy at Santa Clara meeting. And I thought, this is no old woman. Oh, no, 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 no. Anyways, that picture of him hugging her ended up on the front page of the New York Times. And so Dorothy Rosa is famous from Santa Clara to New York, actually pretty much wherever she goes. So she's a bundle of energy. She really signifies Santa Clara. And she is our 2019 Santa Claran of the Year, Dorothy Rosa. Come on up. That's for you. Yes, you're gonna. I'll hold this for you, Dorothy.
Okay. See, I knew I'd find something for her to do today. To begin with, I have been living here in Santa Clara for over 40 years, originally from Rhode Island, and most of my family is back in Rhode Island. And I am so proud to be awarded for today. And it's so hard for me to take credit for who I am. And I'll tell you why. I had the best teacher anybody in the world could have. I want to thank everybody here that came. And what this is all about for me, this is an amazing day for me. However, not all the things go to me only. I need to thank my mom, who showed me how much good of an example you can make in your life. My dad was in the service for the First World War. My mom joined the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and from there became the president of the Ladies Auxiliary for the state of Rhode Island. Every state had one president. And there were 7 of us children who all had to get involved what my mother was doing. Trust me, you didn't have a choice. Every Veterans Day, I can remember being this big. And I had to go on the corner with one of my brothers. When the street light turned red, I had to run out there and try and sell one of the little red poppies. That all the money went to the veterans. And also, she gave such amazing, amazing parties for the veterans. I can close my eyes and still see it. She would have all the veterans that she were inviting come to this hall with music, food, entertainment. But my sisters hated it. My 3 elder sisters had to make sure that she was there. They were there. Because they had to get up and dance with these soldiers. Whether she knew him or not, oh, Mommy, I don't know him. It doesn't matter, just go dance with him. She did so much for the veterans. There's no way of me even giving her enough credit for it. In 1947, the Ladies Auxiliary from the state of Rhode Island and all the other states in the United States, each president was invited to go to Washington to have tea with President Truman, my mom. And you know what? I still have the invitation that was sent to her in 1947. This is what kind of a person my mother was. She believed in doing good and loving people. And I think it rubbed all off on me. I don't know how, but it did. So I give credit to her for what I've done. Also, as far as volunteering, I want to thank Dawn Thompson and Ange Peebles for being the head volunteer for years, who taught us everything that we knew, and they were amazing what they did. And I want to thank both of you. Please stand up 1 minute. Please. Dawn and Ange. They were, believe me, amazing, and they're missed so much. You have no idea. Santa Clara has been voted the best place to live in the state of California. I think we should thank our city council, our city manager, and everyone involved in making us so great today. I know there have been times when I went to city council meetings and I had to stand there and listen to certain people vent their anger and their dirty words at our mayor and some of our other city council people. And I could not tolerate that. I could not tolerate it. I know this lady like the back of my hand. She is the kindest, smartest, wonderful person that I have ever met. And I'm 87, that's a long time. The city council people, all of them, I mean, they've been working so hard to get to where we are today. And today, we are a city that we can be proud of because we are being honest. They are being honest with the city of Santa Clara. And I would not be able to stand up and have anyone call our mayor okay? And believe me, it was said. And I couldn't stand 2 minutes before I got up there and I let them have it back. I'm not just saying that to be funny. I was livid, absolutely livid. It's okay. I mean, if she were someone that did bad things behind our back, spent our money unwisely, so many things that she was accused of, I wouldn't have said anything because it would have been the truth. But I'm not going to stand there and have them lie to these wonderful people that are running Santa Clara. I'm not going to stand for it. I love you guys. With all my heart, I love you. I know what you do because you know what? I go to city council meetings. I haven't been in a while because I've been sick. But when people come up to me and start ragging at our city council, my answer to them is, why don't you come into the city council meeting and speak your mind right to our mayor? She will listen to you. And as much as they swore at her and yelled at her, never once did I hear her say anything or do anything that was nasty. After they got through swearing at her and they sat down, she very kindly would say, "Thank you for speaking." Does that sound like a bad person to you? It's not, trust me. And I could talk from now until doomsday. I really could, couldn't I? But she told me to shorten it, so I shortened it. I could have said a heck of a lot more, but I'm telling you what, we are in good hands with the people that are running our city. They know what they're doing, and they're doing everything honestly, no matter what. And I know maybe you remember seeing me. I launder clothes, not money. You know who that was referring to? Mr. York. Because he was laundering clothes, and they knew it, and they used me as a scapegoat to do it, I guess, because I was on YouTube and all over saying, I launder clothes, not money. So watch out what you say about my mayor and my city council. Thank you. Love you.
Okay, let's go over here, Dorothy.
Wow.
Dorothy will now be on the security patrol for the mayor and council. We only need one person to protect us, and it's Dorothy Rosa.
People make the place, and as you just heard, we have amazing residents, businesses, and organizations right here in Santa Clara. And then I want to share with you, these are all the people and businesses as well as organizations that are being recognized at our State of the City event. So let's give a round of applause for all the award recipients. And without further ado, I will ask Mayor Lisa Gilmore to come forward to give the State of the City.
Thank you. I was going to have Dorothy Rosa do it, but I don't know. Her couple of minutes went into a long time. Thank you, Dorothy. This is a really great crowd, and thank you for lightening up the mood here, Dorothy. We appreciate it, and thank you to all the honorees for coming today, and congratulations. I wanted to recognize we have a new chancellor. I want to call it the Mission West Valley Community College District, but it's the West Valley Mission Community College District. Mark Davis, if you'd like, Brad Davis. There he is, Brad. Hi, Brad. I want to congratulate you and tell you we look forward to working with you. So thank you very much for coming. So I want to thank Lenka for the introduction and thank all of you for being here today. I especially want to thank my council colleagues. I want to introduce them and I'll talk a little bit about them later on. We have Councilmember Debbie Davis. Councilmember Kathy Watanabe. And Councilmember Karen Hardy. I'd also like to acknowledge our city manager, Deanna Santana. And our other appointed staff members, Brian Doyle and Lynn Lamb, our city auditor, are not here today. So I'm going to get started now. So this is the second year in a row that I've had delivered the State of the City outside of City Hall. It's not because we wanted cookies or free lunch. If you were at the senior center, all of you, you would have had a free lunch today. But it's because we all know that it's important to get out in the community and deliver the State of the City. And it's neighborhoods like this around Central Park, and this is part of District 5, Teresa O'Neill, who wasn't able to make it today. But it's all the people like you that make this really important today. So I want to applaud all of you for being here and taking time out of your busy day to come here as well. Before I was mayor, the State of the City was hosted by a business organization, and almost no residents attended. And that didn't seem right to me. In fact, I have a confession to make. I really didn't attend them either. I think it was $50 or $100 to attend. I didn't want to pay the money. So I knew something had to change. And the State of the City is something that Santa Clarans should really want to attend. The State of the City should be in neighborhoods and to make it easier for residents to find out really what's happening in the city, and that's why we're here today. And we're going to be in 3 neighborhoods in the next couple of days. Tomorrow we'll be in the Northside neighborhood at the Northside Library in Kathy Watanabe's district. And then Saturday, we're going to be at the Mission Library in the Old Quad area of Santa Clara. So this morning we were at the Senior Center, as I mentioned, with the free lunch. So there was nothing left over. We would have brought them here. But in City Hall, we really want to engage our residents. We want City Hall to be more open and transparent. And we want City Hall to honor the people, the organizations, and the businesses that really make Santa Clara a great place to live. And that's why I felt we should start this award recognition program that we just had to recognize the people, the businesses, and the organizations and honor them really throughout the city. And that's why each district council member has a person and a business to honor. So as I mentioned earlier, we moved the State of the City into our neighborhoods, and that was really important to me. It was a signal that we would do things differently, but it would be a hollow gesture unless we are truly doing things differently. So I'm proud to say that we are doing them differently, and we're doing them better. And the last few years since I've been mayor, I want to highlight some of the major reforms that we have looked at, and I want to give you a few good examples. So in 2016, many of you may remember a mysterious dark money group called Blue PAC that tried to buy our Santa Clara elections. They were a front for special interests that wanted to run City Hall. They failed, but we won't let them or any other group operate in the dark again. We created a dark money ordinance that went into effect in June of 2018, and I believe we were the first city to do that. So now everyone will know the source of contributions for city candidates or local ballot measures. I'm proud that Santa Clara took a big step in keeping Santa Clara elections clean. We are taking charge of some stadium operations. The 49ers may have committed some major violations of state labor laws. So it's our duty to make sure that the stadium operators follow the law and treat the workers fairly. It's the right thing to do. It's what Santa Clarans expect for our stadium. Santa Clara voters passed Measure J in 2010 to create the stadium and to protect our general fund. No city money or resources can be used for stadium construction or operations. But we learned through an audit in 2016 that I and some of my colleagues pushed for, that there were violations. We moved to fix that and improve our management and oversight. Today, we have completed nearly 70% of the Measure J audit recommendations, and there were 37 of them. It's the right thing to do and what Santa Clarans really expect from city government. We learned from another recent audit that our Chamber of Commerce was mismanaging our convention center. We took swift action to fix the problems. We hired a new nationally recognized operator called Spectra, and we are forming a new Convention and Visitors Bureau to help attract conventions and visitors to Santa Clara. Our efforts, we're confident, will increase our revenues from tourism, and it's the right thing to do, and it's what our city needs. These reforms weren't easy, but change never is, especially if you have special interests who have a financial stake in the status quo. We had to push and fight and make these changes happen. For that, I want to thank my colleagues on the City Council who made the tough votes and who stood up to that special interest pressure. And I want to thank the city staff for showing residents of Santa Clara what good government looks like. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm proud to say that as we've reformed our government, we've also carefully managed our spending. For example, the biennial operating budget the council will be considering next Tuesday is balanced. It is also the most transparent budget we've ever had, and it creates a strong fiscal foundation for Santa Clara. We eliminated deficits projected to be between $13.8 million and $24 million. We have also established a new policy to set aside reserves regularly for the difficult years. Today, we have nearly $300 million in our reserve funds, and it's the most we've had in our reserves since the Great Recession. Just last year alone, we have put in a little over close to 50 million just in a year. And I know our city manager will talk a little bit more about that. I'm proud to say that Santa Clara today sits on a very strong fiscal base. Because of the work that we've done to reform City Hall and strengthen our finances, we look optimistically towards the future. And so here are some of the things Mission City residents can look forward to. City Hall is working together with our residents to revitalize our downtown. I'm just waiting for the clap. So, did Anna leave? Okay, Anna left. And Mary Grizzle, they must have left. Okay. We're finishing the Reed and Grant Street Sports Park. We've reopened the Mission Branch Library, and if you haven't had a chance to look at the renovations, they're beautiful, and we'll be there Saturday afternoon, I think at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. If you have a chance, take a look at the Mission Branch Library. We're expanding our Northside Branch Library hours, thanks to Councilmember Watanabe. And for those of you who ever had children and been to a park, we're adding a new restroom at Fairway Glen Park. Yay. I'm going to applaud. Thank you, Kathy, for that too. Because those are the kind of things that are important in life, especially as I get older. All right. We've won the rent arbitration lawsuit against the 49ers, and that's a turnaround of $180 million that will go to pay down our debt over the term of the lease. And that's really important because that's going to assure that we're going to pay down that debt service and not leave that for future generations of Santa Clarans. That was important to us. We're beefing up neighborhood protections around the stadium during NFL games and major events. We're talking about a worker-owned co-op, and I see Kurt Vartan is here. We're going to be talking about that at a study session on July 9th. And the city is invested in bringing back the Parade of Champions in September. So for those of you who remember that, we're all going to be there, I think. I don't know if they're going to let us in it, but yes, it's going to be fun. So the city's invested to bring that back, and I think that's a great part of building the community as well. And what's really important, we're also taking land that was once a landfill and turning it into one of the most exciting retail and entertainment projects in the United States. It's called City Place, and it will be built on our now golf course. The project will create lots of jobs and housing for Santa Clara, but it will also build something that we lack in this community, and I think something that our residents are going to want. It's 1 million square feet of shopping, dining, and entertainment. And our city will be home to top restaurants and a global food market. We will also create on the site a 30-acre Central Park North, which is really important to have the open space, which will connect with all our trails and Eulastack and really provide the much-needed parks and recreation land for North Santa Clara as we develop that out. Last but not least, very importantly, I know our city manager will think so, it will generate about $17 million a year into our general fund for general fund revenue. So I believe City Place will be something that we enjoy today, but it will also be a great and enduring gift for future generations of Santa Clarans. City Place and all the projects I've discussed are very exciting, but I want to do more to enhance the quality of life here in Santa Clara, especially in our neighborhoods. While our community is thriving, we need to improve our parks, our libraries, and our infrastructure to keep up with the future demand of what's happening here and the aging infrastructure we have in Santa Clara. I hear from many of you that we need improvements to our community center, recreation center. We have to fix the International Swim Center. We need to maintain our streets and our storm drains systems and also aging some public safety infrastructure in Santa Clara. So in response, I propose that we put a parks, libraries, and infrastructure bond on the ballot in November 2020. It will be a major effort to keep our neighborhoods great and prepare our city for the future. This will also be a gift to future generations. We're going to start planning now, and we're going to do it with all of you. This next month, we will create and announce a committee for the bond proposal, and we'll come to you. My colleagues and I will sit in your living room. I already signed them up this morning. They're going to sit in your living room with you and your neighbors, and we'll ask you what our neighborhood needs and what our city wants. And we want your ideas and your feedback, and then and only then will we know how to invest in Santa Clara's future. So we hope you will join us. I've already signed them up, right, ladies? Yes, okay. They're, okay, good. You get 2 awards next year, right? So let me wrap this up briefly before I turn things over to City Manager Deanna Santana, who I believe is doing an outstanding job. She has helped us become a more professional and transparent organization. She has built a city staff, and she will introduce them. She has built a city staff that is considered by other cities to be the A team of city government. Our city attorney, Brian Doyle, who is not with us today, is part of the leadership team. I wish he were here. He's out of town. With his courageous work, we have turned things around, particularly in the area of stadium operations. So let's take a second to thank them and my colleagues as well. I wanted to say a couple things about my colleagues that are here today. I'm going to start with Councilmember Debbie Davis. She's the most senior council member with us now. And Debbie is the chair of the County Water Commission. She does everything water for us in the city. So as we know, water is very important, and so she has a very important role with the county. Debbie also runs our marketing committee and deals with everything advertising in Santa Clara, marketing our city, all the good things about our city. She helped us develop the tagline of the Center of What's Possible, and she's all about marketing Santa Clara. She's the biggest cheerleader for our city, and she works really, really hard. And what I really like about Debbie, she just gets things done. She may tell you off a few times, but when she does, doesn't matter. We're used to that with Dorothy. Yeah. So we owe Debbie a lot of gratitude. She represents District 6, which is on Stevens Creek Boulevard, south of Forest area of Santa Clara, from Lawrence Expressway, Prune Ridge. So anybody that's in here, any complaints, go straight to Debbie, right here. But she's been a very valued member of the City Council, and I appreciate her courageous efforts for making the hard decisions on some of the tough things that we do. So thank you very much, Debbie. Kathy Watanabe, who represents our north side, is a force of nature. Kathy is fiercely protective of her district. She is on top of everything that goes on in the north side. If there's anything happening or she fears that there's a threat of any way to her community and her residents out there, whether it's airport noise, stadium operations, racing up and down the street, sideshows, Kathy's on top of it. Kathy trolls the internet. She finds everything that you can think of in Santa Clara. And if she feels it, she's on top of it. I've never seen anything like it. A more engaged city council member than Kathy Watanabe. She's there and she acts. Again, she gets things done. She gets things done. Thank you, Kathy. Karen Hardy. So Karen Hardy, I'll have more to say about you next year when I have a little more time. But Karen Hardy represents District, is it 2? Oh, 3, thank you, I'm still learning. District 3. And Karen is one of our first council members that was elected by district in Santa Clara. Karen has a rich history. She was a planning commissioner. She was the chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee. She's a high school science teacher, so she's super smart. The other day we had an electrical issue and she was doing calculations on the dais. I went, wow, I'm impressed. Karen's a really hard worker. Not only does she work hard for her district, but she also engages herself in the community. And I think there's a theme on our council with council members. We work hard, and again, this is our part-time job. We work hard for the city, but we also work hard in the community organizations. And Karen's involved in Seroptimus, and I'm sure a whole list of other things. She's very, very well qualified, and she's a wonderful addition to the city council. So let's give it up for Karen Hardy. Thanks, Karen. So just in closing, I've been mayor since 2016. I was appointed when Jamie Matthews suddenly resigned after Super Bowl in 2016. And that, to be very candid, when that happened, I was nervous. Yeah, nervous. I was actually a little bit scared, and I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what we would find once we started turning over all the rocks at City Hall. And there were a lot of them. In fact, we're still turning some, city manager. But because of my colleagues and my city staff, with their support and courageous efforts, we were able to work through a lot of difficult challenges since 2016. We were able to turn things around. We were able to reform City Hall. We were able to rebuild our finances. We were able to invest in the future. So let me tell you, I'm proud to say that I'm not scared anymore. I'm not. And I want to thank my council members, my staff, and my community for helping me and supporting me and the city council and all the reforms that we've made for Santa Clara. So on the contrary, I'm very optimistic and excited about Santa Clara's future. And I want to say the state of our city is great. And I want to thank you all for coming today. Thank you. City Manager Santana.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start by introducing members of the A-team, but first I want to thank, in order to have such a great event, it takes a lot of staff that put in the extra work to make things happen. So I want to thank Robin Saheed, our assistant to the city manager, Lenka Wright, our director of public information, Maria Lay, where are you, Maria? She's probably running, or Maria, there you are. Genevieve Yip, who's the superstar in the mayor and council's office. Kendra Davis, where's Kendra? She was running, there she is back there. Thank you, Kendra. And I also want to thank our Central Park Library staff. I want to start with some introductions of executive leadership that's here. If you could just stand up, because I know folks are back there, but I want to call you out. Angie Kraish, our finance director. Manuel Pineda, our assistant city manager and our interim electric utility officer. Ruth Shikata, assistant city manager. Nadine Nader, assistant city manager. Craig Mobeck, our public works director. Cynthia Bohorkis, our newest assistant city manager. Andrew Crabtree, our community development director. And I saw Dan Winter, our assistant police chief back here. Did he leave? And then Gary Welling, our sewer and water director, and Greg Beisch, our risk manager. Jim Teixeira, are you? Oh, there you are. Our Parks and Rec director. Is that everybody? So I start by introducing our staff because they are the A-team, as the mayor said it and as we've been recognized as. And the report and the information that I will share today is really the collective work of a very hardworking group of employees, as well as our directors that lead our employees on a day-to-day basis to get these results. I just want to acknowledge that as a part of the information that you have today, you have the PowerPoint slide that allows for you to go back and understand all of the detail that I'll quickly walk through. And you also have a community letter that's a mid-year update of all of the accomplishments that we have achieved together between the community, the council, the mayor, and the employees. And I think it's important to share this because we would be here all day if we had to go through this line by line, and so just call it out and take it away with you and review it later. So as we know, the city of Santa Clara is unique, and it is also unique in its structure. It has 4 different lines of business. About a year and a half ago, when I started as city manager, I would have shared with you that we had 3 lines of business, but through the mayor's comments, the city has had now a greater role in oversight of the convention center, which has really taken new focus and new resources. So we have our municipal services, our electric utility, the stadium authority, and the convention center. That's a large portfolio for a city of our size. Just to add on to the unique structure and oversight that we have a regional wastewater partnership with the city of San Jose. We are a major data center for the Silicon Valley. We have an amusement park, multiple educational institutions, as well as a major regional shopping center that has significance in California with retail. With all of that, the city's oversight and operating portfolio averages about $1 billion. That's large for a city of our population size. And together with all the staff here, we make sure that we are managing our funds well. And I'll just share with you a walkthrough of where we've come over the last 18 to 20 months. Oops. So when we talk about our fiscal reforms, I wanted to present it into 3 different categories so that you know the different categories that we think of when we measure our performance for fiscal or financial stability. First, our reserves. Are we able to invest and pull from one-time funds to invest strategically in needed areas of service or improvements? Do we have enough dollars set aside for a recession strategy should or when it occurs? Our forecast, which allows for us to look forward and to project what we anticipate will happen and what we can plan for, and what does it say about our financial outlook so that if there is a downturn or a dip in our forecast, we are able to provide enough advanced thinking to try to mitigate as much as possible the outcomes of the downturn. And then just our operating, what are we able to cost control and manage? Do we understand our revenues and expenditures such that we're investing strategically for the best investments for the services for the city of Santa Clara? So I want to share about 18 months ago when I came into the organization, maybe 20, we had this number here, our reserve, was about $220 million. And over the last 18 to 20 months, as the mayor said, we are near 300 million. These are non-reoccurring funds, they're one-time funds, but we've been able to invest in our reserves almost to the tune of about $4.5 million a month. And that's really unprecedented for a local government. And it shows that the council has been disciplined, the city staff has been prudent with public funds, and that we are investing in our reserves strategically. I also want to share in 2017, someone would say, who would make a decision to come in and take on the city manager role in the face of a $46 million deficit? This translates into hundreds of staff that would have had to be eliminated, significant service cuts. And I thought there were things that we could look at in terms of fiscal oversight and fiscal management and question the assumptions that went into these forecasts to understand whether they were numbers that could be more favorable. And that's exactly what we did. Over our first year, working with all of our departments, working with our budget team, we went through our general ledger line by line. We made all of the assumptions fully analyzed to know whether we were making the right assumptions and creating the right analysis that we could stand behind these numbers. And that work, as well as making some changes in our financials, we were able to get the budget deficit down to about $10.2 million. We needed more time, so we brought the budget for the council to consider, recognizing that we were still in the red. And over the last months, we were able to continue this due diligence. And in a $1 billion multi-fund, multiple line item budget, you need that time in order to make sure that we are doing all of the good work that requires to be validated. And so this is the budget projection now over 10 years. We're in the black. In areas where we're in the red, we know where we can start to mitigate those expenditures. It shows a healthy financial outlook. However, we also know our risks, and the city's being transparent around known risks, meaning that we've identified what can impact the 10-year forecast and bring us down or allow for us to have to reorder the budget and its financial outlook. So these are the known risks, and we presented this at our 2 study sessions for the public as well as for the council. CalPERS continues to make changes that can impact our fiscal outlook, a downturn of an economy. This is why our recession planning through building up our reserves is important. The Stadium Authority revenue and waiting for information from them to understand what our future looks like from a revenue standpoint. Any state or federal legislative changes, as well as any tax issues that come from the state or changes in tax distribution to municipal governments. And I'll talk about the item number 12, which is actually a revenue opportunity for us based on our council-directed study. So when you think about our budget and the information that I shared around our 10-year financial outlook, our balanced 2-year budget, as well as the status of our reserves at unprecedented levels, what you need to know is that it's balanced, it's fiscally responsible. We know our risk factors. We've been transparent with the community around them. We continue our due diligence to review every fund, line item by line item, to make sure that we are managing the public's funds with the highest level of responsibility. We're stable in terms of our 10-year financial forecast. We have reserves that will help us get through if we do have a dip or if we do have a known risk factor occur. We've been transparent, as the mayor said. If you just open this year's budget, you will see a remarkable level of transparency with positions, funding at division level and service level so that the community knows how your funds are being expended. This is just one example of fund distribution throughout fund type and how we're reporting adopted, proposed, and the amount of increase so that any person can follow along. And I want to talk here, we are also looking at not just expenditure control and financial management, we're also looking at revenue opportunities. And of course, it starts with user fees. We just provided a report to the council about what we know about our user fees, and we broke it down into 3 different phases because oftentimes we know fees are based on a set of values by the community in terms of what is it that we want to maintain at good levels so that we can maximize community participation, and where is it that a user should pay full 100% cost to deliver the service. What we learned is through our user fee study is that we have about $20 million of an opportunity to evaluate how we can reinvest that back into our budget, as well as what decisions the City Council wants to make to keep fees low so that we maximize participation in city programs. The council has charged us with these other items here, the bulleted list, and you'll see us come forward over the next year on what's the numbers, what's the projected revenue, and the council can make policy decisions that are informed on good analysis. So this is where your letter comes. You can read all about it. I just wanted to call out a couple of things on the horizon. The council has adopted 7 priorities, 2 of which were recently adjusted. One was added, the sustainable priority was added, and the other was manage strategically our workforce capacity and resources. That was slightly adjusted to have a more comprehensive approach to how we work with our employees. In your packet in the letter, there's a matrix that attaches all of the different accomplishments under each of those priorities because we're now tracking in that level to hold us accountable to the work that the council wants completed, as well as we're budgeting within these council priorities so that we can report out the level of investment in each. There's the letter. Take an opportunity to review it. I think it says a lot about what we've accomplished in our mid-year update. And here's where we're going, and that's one thing that the letter doesn't include, and I wanted to just call out a couple of areas that are important for us to focus on. We will continue to focus on eliminating the 2 years of deficit as well as building up the projections. We will continue to address the City Council priorities. We are excited to build and enhance on our sustainability program. There's a lot already reflected in the matrix. We want to do more because we understand the critical need for action. We will continue with the stadium oversight as well as neighborhood response. And you will see us becoming more active over the Census 2020 to make sure that we get a complete count with Santa Clara. If you don't know, the federal dollars are distributed largely by formula based on what's the count for population. And so these numbers need to be as high as possible so that we can secure the most amount of funds over the next decade until the next count occurs. So dollars that we invest now pay off over the next 10 years with the formulaic distribution of funds. We'll take on some new areas of service where we'll look at an accessory dwelling unit incentive program targeting teachers and public service employees. We'll continue with our risk management as well as our Public Records Act administration and improvements. And we'll look at other additional areas of strategic communication so that our community is completely apprised of what's happening. And if I just put a plug in, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my blog. I put a blog out every 2 weeks that gives highlights of what has taken place over the last 2 weeks. And there's also a Santa Clara app that if you just download on your phone, it allows for you to communicate any type of issue that you see, and it will make its way through the department so that we can address your concerns. So take the opportunity to use that, and we've already pushed this out and have already seen improvements in our response as well as our ability to track data. And then I just want to acknowledge that for under the affordable housing. Most recently, the council approved the St. Anton project. It's 196 units of affordable housing. It is the largest affordable housing development right now in the state of California. And regularly, affordable housing projects are designated for affordability for 30 years. And in this case, the council was able to secure 55 years of affordability level, which I think shows really the commitment that this council has. So I'm just going to cross over that in terms of we're testing with the community, how are we doing? Statistically, valid data shows that we are on track. We're meeting the needs of the community. The community is supportive of the quality of life almost to 90%. So it means that our services are measuring up to what this community expects. In large part, the community believes that the city is headed in the right direction. We have a 63%, and this is a 2018 number. And so we are excited to launch another survey over the next year when the council's ready so that we can refresh our data. And overall, our city departments fare very well when we poll about our service delivery and the quality of that service. And I'd like to end with a high note. If you don't know, just this week through the chamberofcommerce.org, the city of Santa Clara was recognized as the best city to live in, #1, not #2 or 3, but #1 in the state of California. So with that, I'll invite Link up to open it up for questions.
All right. Well, as you heard from Mayor Gilmore, the state of the city is great, and it's only going to get better. And I will now invite Mayor Gilmore up to the podium. We will entertain a few questions. We have limited time, but I would ask that you be respectful of others who may have a question, and we would like to be able to cover a variety of topics. So we have Kendra Davis with a microphone. And so if you're interested in asking a question, please raise your hand, and Kendra will come over to you. So if you have a question, please raise your hand.
Or if you have a question for Dorothy Rosa, she would be happy to answer them.
Oh, we have one in the back. All right, Kendra is coming over to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for holding this session. My name is Kathy Almazal, and I'm concerned about the roads. I live between Homestead and Prune Ridge, and I've noticed the tremendous number of cars that are on those roads now. The roads themselves are really in a difficult situation because of all the building that's gone on those roads. And so the city services have been digging up, and I wonder what the plan is for that particular area of transportation. However, I don't know whose department it is.
It's Public Works, and that's the beauty of having this, because everyone's here and ready. Kathy, are you talking about the actual physical road on Homestead and you said Benton?
Well, I'm talking about Prune Ridge,
Prune Ridge.
Benton, Homestead, and the roads are not good. Personally, that's my feeling. My husband says I'm losing tire pressure because I keep going over all the holes. But also the number of cars. Is there a long-term plan for the number of cars because of the Apple people and other arteries that are affecting Homestead, Benton, and Prune Ridge? Those are my main concerns.
Yes, and I think that's a legitimate concern on the number of cars because of people are cutting through. However, they're using Waze, they're cutting through. But I'm going to have Craig, our Public Works Director, talk about the physical condition of the roads first. Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. Craig Mobeck, Director of Public Works. And yes, the roads are obviously a big concern for a lot of residents. We've done a number of things as of late. So one item we put in place this year is a pavement preservation ordinance. So what that is going to do is coordinate our 5-year paving plan with a lot of the utility projects, utility companies, our own utility work, to make sure anytime we do pave a road that we get those utilities in advance so we don't cut through newly paved roads. So that's one thing that we're doing. The second part of that is laying laying out our pavement plan. So I mentioned our 5-year pavement plan. We're fortunate in the upcoming years to get money through Measure B, also through SB1. So that has increased the money that are going towards our pavement program. So this year, in general, we're kicking off our latest construction project within the next few weeks. That's going to be paving a variety of streets around the city of Santa Clara. So that's one measure we're doing. There's different items that go in with that paving program, repaving some streets, resurfacing others, as well as restriping them. So a lot of additional resources coming in through those revenue streams. But in general, trying to keep up, a lot of these roads are 40, 50 years old. They're built with the housing tracts through developers. Now the city is picking up the maintenance, and obviously that maintenance cost is increasing with labor, materials, et cetera. So. Did that answer your question? Yeah. Oh, in terms of overall traffic volumes, yeah, I mean, that is one thing that is indicative of the job growth as well as the growth of the city, the growth of a lot of the surrounding cities. Despite what we do here in Santa Clara, we do know that a lot of people are traveling to Santa Clara to get to jobs in other cities as well. So as much of that, obviously a concern for a lot of people, that's a little bit tougher to control because there's more global issues that are generating increased traffic and increased number of residents within all the cities. Okay, thank you.
One thing I wanted to mention, because there is, especially with Apple and the other businesses that have located where people are using some of our streets like Homestead and Benton and Prune Ridge, Stevens Creek to get to those locations. The city, we're sort of experimenting with different things. Many of you are familiar probably with our road diet on Prune Ridge, where the two goes into one. We're trying to do traffic calming measures, looking at, expanding the bike lanes and doing whatever we can to try to discourage, that cut through traffic. But it's not the only problem with our city. All the other cities are facing it as people are using their devices to figure out quick ways to get places. But it's really it's a condition of the economy right now and the businesses and the fact that people are trying to get to their locations the quickest way possible, including going through a lot of residential neighborhoods to do that. So we're going to continue with our experimentation, our traffic calming measures, and seeing, what works to keep that type of traffic on the busier expressways and other things and outside of the city. But we don't really have an answer right now. We're just really trying to find what's the best way to do that because it's a huge complaint in our city. Thank you, Kathy.
Do we have any other questions? Please raise your hand. Yes, sir. Hang on 1 second. Kendra's coming to you.
Okay. Kendra's not going to let go of that microphone, Mr. Kim.
Ken Kim here, Korean American Chamber of Commerce. Ms. Mayor, there was news that our city of Santa Clara has a MOU signed with a city in South Korea called Icheon. And I wonder you can share more about how you came about that arrangement. And I think a lot of folks good information to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. And yes, we have signed a MOU to have Icheon as a friendship city with Santa Clara. And I'm glad you brought this up because the delegation from Icheon will be here. Let me ask our sister cities people here. July what? 16th through the 19th. Oh, July 16th through the 19th, the mayor and some of the city council members from Icheon will be here in Santa Clara. So we're bringing them to a council meeting, have a special order of business so the public can participate. We're excited about it, and we have a huge Korean population in Santa Clara, and they're really excited about it too. So, so mid-July, they're coming, and we're going to have a new friendship city with Icheon, South Korea. That is correct. So the MOU has already been signed, but they're going to come and we're going to recreate the signing again so everyone can see it. Thank you, Mr. Kim.
Any other questions? All right.
Oh, you're letting me off easy here. I like it. More money for this district now.
All right. Well, seeing no one, Mayor, if you will give your closing remarks.
Thank you so much, and thank you for participating with us. Last year, we did this for the first time, and we certainly didn't have quite the turnout as we've had so far this year, and it really goes to show how engaged Santa Clara residents are, how much you care about your city, and how special Santa Clara is, and how, once you're a Santa Claran, you're always a Santa Claran, and we really love to see everybody here and participate. So we try to be an open and visible city council. If you have issues, please feel free to contact us, come see us, stop by City Hall. We are still, a small to medium-sized city. We have giant, big city assets in Santa Clara, but we still want to maintain the connection with our community. And I think, having these is really important for us, that we stay connected with the community and you're all connected with us. So thank you and congratulations to all the award recipients. Dorothy, are we okay? Is this all right? Can I end now? Oh, one thing. She just wants to say one thing. Thank you, Dorothy. You don't even need to wait for a city council meeting. We'll take the positive questions and negative questions. We'll take any questions. So thank you very much, and thank you all for coming today. Thank you.